Hello everyone, my name is Cindy and I'm an MD PhD student. And I know some of you guys are starting medical school or you have started very recently, so I want to share some of my favorite purchases, and also in the end I'll talk to you guys about some of the things I would not spend money on. Everything will be linked in the description. I'm not getting paid to say any of this, but if you do choose to shop through my links, I will get a small commission, which helps support this channel. And of course, shopping through any of my links will be at no cost to you. My first purchase was kind of a splurge, but I think it is the best thing ever, and it's my weighted blanket, which you see back there and in all of my videos. Like, I don't switch out the blanket. My particular blanket is from a brand called Gravity Blankets. I was comparing a bunch of different blankets at the time. I knew I didn't want a knit one, and I also knew I didn't want a blanket where I can hear the rustling of the fabric as I slept in it, because in fact I think the newest version that they have now on their website is actually this soft fleecy material that you can cuddle up in. I do think it's high quality. It comes in I think 15 pounds and 20 pounds. I personally have the 15 pound. It also comes with a duvet cover. The blanket itself I don't think is washable, but the duvet cover is. And I remember when I first purchased the Gravity blanket, they actually sold separate duvet covers, which I loved, but they don't do that anymore. So the duvet cover it comes with is now the single one that you have. But honestly, it's my favorite thing. My sister also has one. And I think at the time when I got this, they were kind of trying to discontinue this model. So I got 2 blankets for $50. The next thing I want to talk about is a little remote for doing Anki. I'm a huge Anki fan. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a free flashcard system. I got a remote so I can map the keys of flipping the cards and things like that to these buttons. You honestly can use any Bluetooth enabled video game controller and sync it up with your computer, map it with the keys, and then use it for your Anki. But the particular one I have is called the 8BitDo02. I'll link it down below. And it's just fun because it gamifies Anki a little bit. And it's fun because if you have a projector, you can actually project your Anki screen on a wall and then do this in bed and just click through your cards. There's another company out there that is making a product called the Anki remote, and I swear I am probably their #1 biggest hater because it costs $50 and it is the ugliest thing. And I actually made a TikTok video about this a while back saying why did Anki remotes get so ugly? Why does everyone have the ugly Anki remote? And I swear they must have seen that video because now they're coming up with new colorways. And the reason why I'm such a big hater of that company is that there's no reason why a little remote like this should cost $50. And on their website, they claim that the remote is no setup, but really setting one of these up with a Bluetooth connection is not hard at all. I don't personally have the Anki remote. I am not gonna buy it, but I just don't think it's worth $50. Anyone who is even a little bit tech savvy can figure this out, and there are so many tutorials online on YouTube and other places that teach you how to set up an Anki remote. And I trust that medical students have a basic level of tech savviness, so save your $50, buy a $20 one instead. Does the same thing. Better yet, use a remote you have at home. I will link the particular one I have as well as tutorials for both Windows and Mac down below so you can save your money. The next thing we're going to talk about is question banks for your preclinical years. You're going to see 2 big ones floating around. One of them is AMBOSS and one of them is UWorld. Personally, I prefer UWorld, but I'll talk a little bit about both. I have used both. I honestly recommend you wait a week or 2 after the start of medical school just to see, 1, if there's any deals with your school, and 2, if your school even provides either of these for free. In my opinion, you only need 1. So what's the difference between the 2 of them? I have used both. AMBOSS more during preclinicals and then UWorld more during step 1. I am also very familiar with UWorld from when I was studying for the MCAT, and I just really swear by it. AMBOSS is good because it has a lot of resource pages, so it's essentially like a Wikipedia, but for clinical knowledge or preclinical knowledge. I would say that it's good as a reference source, so I wouldn't be reading through these pages just to learn things fresh. But if you need a refresher, if you just have a quick question about hey, how do I treat this disease, then AMBOSS is a good resource. But at the same time, as I found myself moving through preclinicals and starting to learn about different diseases, different drugs, treatments, etc., I just referenced UpToDate, which my school has a subscription to. The AMBOSS question bank is okay. My criticism with AMBOSS is that I feel a lot of their questions are not very high yield and that the explanations can be a little bit more in-depth or better. If that's what you have, then use that. Like, I wouldn't purchase another one if your school is providing that for you. And so now moving on to UWorld, that is just a question bank and not any kind of like knowledge base or resource. But I do actually think UWorld question bank is still one of the best on the market, and that is why they're able to charge so much for it. As a price comparison, if I remember correctly, AMBOSS is the more cost-effective option, but I will say UWorld is able to charge the prices that they charge because they're such a high quality resource. I 100% swear by it. I used it for step 1, and once I go back to medical school, I will be using UWorld to study for the shelves, and I will be using it to study for step 2. So out of the two, I prefer UWorld, but really you just need one. Pick one or the other. There are some people who are like diehard AMBOSS people and they only use that and they do just fine. And a lot of people are diehard UWorld people and they also do just fine. My whole point is that it doesn't really matter what you choose, just choose one. You don't need both. I did try to reach out to UWorld to get a discount for you guys, but that didn't work. So I'll just be linking their websites down below. They're not going to be affiliate links. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this pair of noise canceling headphones. I have never owned a noise canceling headphone until medical school, and it kind of has been a game changer. This one is the Anki Soundcore Q35. I don't think that is available on Amazon anymore, but I'll link a similar one down below. It has pretty good battery life. I like that it's pink. Has like 3 modes. There's like noise canceling, transparency, which is like you can hear your surroundings, I guess, and then like normal, which is like no noise canceling at all. It's $55 when I bought it. Doesn't break the bank. It's good for like library noises. It's good for when I'm like now working in the office as a PhD student. It's good if you have roommates. Like, I don't know. I just really like this. Okay, so for the last part of this video, let's talk about some things that I would pause before buying. The first thing we're gonna break down and talk about is the iPad. So I do personally have one. This is an iPad Air 11-inch that I got specifically for medical school. I also have with it an Apple Pencil, which I don't know if you can tell, but I did replace the tip of my pencil so that I can have a more like precise writing experience, and I personally like it. And for my iPad accessory, I also have like a paper-like cover, again, just for like precision and comfort when I'm writing on the iPad. Some people will tell you that this is a must-have for medical school, you have to buy it. I did buy into that narrative, which is why I even bought one, and I did buy it specifically for medical school. And I just want to tell you and put it out in the world that I don't think you need an iPad to be successful in medical school. Now, you definitely need a laptop, so like if anything, get a laptop, but an iPad, I don't think so. What ended up happening with me is I tried the iPad note-taking, like the annotation of slides for a semester, and I realized that it's really not for me. I just prefer taking notes on my laptop, and so I kind of just ended up doing that for the rest of pre-clinicals. Some people do really be out there on social media telling people that they must have an iPad to succeed in medical school. Now, if you're someone who's been studying with an iPad for ages and ages and ages, you know that's how you study, then yes, I would agree with you that an iPad is absolutely essential in order for you to succeed in medical school. But for me, I was never really an iPad girly. I just bought into the hype because everyone around me had one in medical school. I did end up finding other uses for the iPad, and I use it almost daily now, but it was never used for medical school. Every time I bring up this conversation about whether or not you need an iPad for medical school and I share that like it wasn't that useful for me, people get really upset for some reason. And I'm not really attacking people for like really liking their iPad. I like totally get it. All I'm trying to say is that everyone studies a little bit differently, and if you don't study with an iPad, that's fine. And I just don't really want people going into medical school thinking that, oh, like I have to drop like $700 or whatever it costs on an iPad in order to do well in medical school, because you don't. And the last thing I want to talk about is kind of like in the realm of medical supplies. So anything from like textbooks, otoscopes, stethoscopes, personal white coats, blood pressure cuffs, things like that. I would ask an upperclassman if you actually need to buy anything of that sort. So for my school, we did not end up needing to buy an otoscope. The school did provide us with a stethoscope, and the only thing we had to buy was like a reflex hammer and a tuning fork for neurology. And so I have that, but that was like a small expense. It was like $20. Textbooks are also not so common these days, so I would wait until a professor actually says something before you actually go out and buy anything. And usually a lot of upperclassmen will be giving them away as well. And lastly, personal white coats for medical school. Some students do find it helpful to buy an extra short coat, just as backup, or if one of them is like really dirty and you haven't had time to wash it or something. So that can be really useful, but I wouldn't splurge on it. Like an extra short coat should maybe cost you $20. Like don't buy like an $80 Figs short white coat or something, because you're really only going to be wearing the short white coat during medical school. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what are your medical school must-haves, whether you're a medical student already or you're about to start medical school. And congratulations to everyone starting medical school this year. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!